fit from what you've been saying, from all the things Dr. Ari have been able to do. That's the president of Rugby Federation Nigeria. But the question remains that what does the growth actually looks like on the ground? In the community,
Um,
the school, the club, what's the growth? What does it really look like?
well, when you say growth, I would say efforts. We put in a lot of efforts to try and bring back the culture, the tradition, because you know what they say. It's very easy to bring down the house. It can take you less than 10, 2 minutes to put a dynamite and bring down the house. But for you
Yes.
to reenact that building, it's going to take a lot of planning. You
Yes.
have to go back and do excavation, do
Mhm.
and all that. So, World Rugby officially listed us as one of the fastest growing nation because of the work that has gone in since our reinstatement. So, alongside Belgium, I think Singapore, Ghana, Zambia, Spain, I think. So that recognition meant something. It was not bestowed; it was earned actually. And like I always say, the headline, is not a program. We on the ground, growth looks like this. Let me just take you through what growth looks like for us at the moment. So we have introduced rugby to over 40 schools in Lagos state alone. The ones that have started years before now and the ones that are just joining.
Yeah.
Um, our Rugby Rising Play Nigeria program has reached 20 states as we
Mm.
speak. Introducing rugby to over 6,700 young girls between the age of 10 and 18 across about 70 schools
Mm.
and communities, because we're not leaving out the communities. We're not just focusing on schools. Some children don't have rugby in their schools, but where they live, in the playground that they have, there's rugby. So they would usually like join in and enjoy it. We appointed 15 coaches the first time, and then we were able to scale after we had mastered the program. We scaled up to about 22 coaches. Um, we held the national women's rugby sevens tournament in Asaba in 2024, which was a really, really good one. Great turnout from states that I didn't even expect would be able to perform, like Benue State, like Abia State, like Anambra. It was a really, really good one with about 12 teams participating in that tournament. Um, and we also, did um, we launched the referees coaching and officiating program. And what we did was very, very practical and um, foundational. So what we did was we went to World Rugby, and then we with their assistants they came down to Nigeria about 3 times in 2 years,
Mm.
and they were able to upskill our workforce. So before then, what we had was people with IRB certifications. Now, IRB certifications was when World Rugby was still International Rugby Board. That was a long time ago. I mean, that was pre 2010
Okay.
thereabouts. So those certifications and the coaching models and coaching styles were outdated. So
Okay.
we needed to
Okay.
bring forth modern coaching patterns and coaching styles, and we had to upskill them. And we were upskilling them with one thing in mind, for us to be able to be independent, because you can't keep bringing world rugby educators into the country. It costs a lot, and it's scheduled. You can't have them all the time. But what our target was for us to be able to be independent and be able to do it on our own. And by year two, by the end of year two, we had about 6 educators of our own,
Wow.
two in coaching, one in officiating, one in strength and conditioning, and three in medical. And medical is very, very important because that's the that's the major player welfare mechanism. Because in world rugby, player welfare is topmost of
Mm.
the priorities, and on top of that is concussion management. So being able to manage injuries and ensuring that everybody plays rugby in a safe
Yes.
place. So for us, for the first time, in a very, very long time, we came back. They gave us a wild card to come back into pre-qualifiers 2023. Rugby Africa gave us that, and we're able to come up with a team that made it to the final. From number 24th ranked team in Africa, we moved up to number 11 just by one tournament. And we were able to eliminate everyone else in front of us. And we got to the finals with Algeria. And then we qualified automatically for the Olympic qualifiers.
Wow.
That was the Paris Olympic qualifiers
Wow.
in Zimbabwe. This tournament that we played was in Mauritius. We then qualified for the tournament in Zimbabwe, Harare, where we then went there and got to the quarterfinals and bowed out to South after meeting South Africa in the quarterfinals. So we were able to now successfully move from 11 to number 8 just within the space of a few months. So, and I'm talking 7 aside, rugby sevens. And so, through a deliberate phased strategy that combines central, federation programming with state level activation, we're also concentrating on the states. We cannot do it alone from Abuja. You have to combine and collaborate to have exponential impact. So we needed to empower the states, and we were able to get balls. Rugby balls was a big challenge. We were able to get 1,000 balls in to boost development, because when I was newly appointed GM, everybody was asking me for rugby balls. One rugby ball is not that cheap, so we had to look for a means, due to the network of people that we know, and we reached out and we were able to bring in those developments. And we're looking forward to more, bringing back the Get Into Rugby 2.0. There's also the Lorios and IOC Celsapo partnership conversation going on at the moment, which we want to bring into Nigeria, and a lot more. So, a lot more is still coming, and these are the ways that we've been able to work. We're also able to restart our women's program. So when we went to the All Africa Games in Ghana, rather than fielding a men's team, we decided to field a women's team in order to try and restart and resuscitate that program. We started in 2009, and the girls hadn't played since 2009. So we ensured that they played again in 2024, and we're hoping that we'll be able to now to get them out to play again, because we believe that women's rugby is our low-hanging fruit, and that we should try and push and get them playing once again on the continent. It's unfortunate we couldn't get them to play in Tunisia because of the costs that was actually, that we had to cover. A lot of players and coaches, about 31, everything running into about over 50 million in flights. So we couldn't manage that, but we're hoping that we'll be able to do something around women's rugby, which is very dear to our heart.
So thanks for it. You gave a very elaborate response to this, and there are lots of things. Like I said, you've covered some of the follow-up questions which I have on there. I don't know how you've been managing to do that, but most of the questions that I needed to ask you, you've been able to answer that. So now I'm going to go into funding, because most of all these projects, there are sub projects which you mentioned in your response. Most of traveling, going all over the country, So I'm going to go into funding, sponsorship, and governance. That's the question that I'm going on under now. So you mentioned the NRFF signed a 3-year MOU with Flowerville Consulting in 2024. As a commercial partner, what has the partnership delivered in practically terms so far? Because all those things that you mentioned, definitely there has to be funding involved. What are they doing, and what are the government doing to support all these important projects? The female arm of the rugby union, schools, coaching, development, training. So how does Flowerville Consulting, what are they doing? Are they been able to support you? In what way have they been able to support you, and what way has the government been able to support too?
So let me say that the Flowerville partnership signed ahead of Mauritius in 2024 was a strategic milestone for us. for the federation. Mr. Paulu Arushawe, MD of Flowville, came in with a clear mandate to create a dedicated commercial channel to make rugby one of the most popular sports in Nigeria. The MOU also included unveiling the Nigerian Rugby's redesigned logos and signal a fresh identity to accompany fresh ambition for us, to be honest. So, in practical terms, the partnership brought in a little bit of structure. We saw that, and to commercial conversations, opening doors with corporates who might not have engaged with us directly before. So, and I'll say, um, Flovio was able to help us with, for example, when we're negotiating with Umbro, our kit sponsor, Flovio was able to, facilitate the design of the kit by plus 234 agency, headed by T Breeze and his sister Tenny. I think her name is Tenny Zakios. Tenny Zakios and the brother. So these
Sorry,
guys were
sorry. Did you say Tiblis?
T T. So the brother's name is Tony Zakios, and the
Okay,
sister is Tenny Zakios. So both I'll just use let me let
okay,
me let me let me forgo their nickname, but
okay,
just
okay.
use
All right, all
their
right.
normal username. So they run plus 234 agency,
Okay,
and they were able to design a very fantastic kit. Let me also say that I don't know if you know Grace Ladoja. So they work together with Grace Ladoja. Grace Ladoja and these 234 guys were also instrumental in the design of the Nigerian Super Eagles kit for Nike. So that was the 2018 one and the subsequent ones, I think. And so it was a real good leap for us from where we were, moving into a new horizon. And uh, it hasn't been easy for Flovia themselves. They've tried a lot to get us sponsorship and what have you, but it's not a very easy terrain. I'm not making excuses for them, but so far, um, their impact hasn't really been 100%. When you talk about the results on the ground, but whether they are putting effort every day, we can see that they're doing their best to provide the roadmap that gives sponsors the confidence that for them to invest in an organized institution with clear objective. It is very early. I can't say it's early anymore because it's almost 3 years, but the foundation that we are building is the right one, and we'll continue to build
yeah,
on it genuinely. And
okay,
we have been able to receive some genuine interest, um, but not yet converted into the scale that we need. So there's awareness and admiration. What we are working to demonstrate is is that return on investment, visibility, and the CSR alignment and brand association with the rights, uh, corporates. So, but we're going to get there soon. We're not
yeah,
very far off.
yeah.